Welcome back to the Cozy Corner and happy Thanksgiving week.
We hope you're enjoying your week, whether you're on vacation or have been working. We just hope that it's been a great week.
On today's episode, we have some fun topics that all have to do with the holiday we're about to celebrate this week.
I'm so happy to be back in Texas this week. Oh my gosh, this is weird. We're like looking at each other.
I know.
I'm not looking at my computer screen.
I know. You can touch me. Oh my gosh.
This is awesome. Okay, yeah. So guys, I'm back in Texas. I got here Sunday. It's Wednesday. We're here. So happy. It's been 6 years since I celebrated Thanksgiving with my family. So I'm so happy. It's a huge blessing. And yeah, so I'm here at Gabby's house. We're recording our first episode together.
And guys, we are, if you can't see us on YouTube, hold on, let me take these off. We are actually in a cozy corner in my office. So just,
And we got some, what are these?
Passion fruit margaritas from H-E-B
going on.
So catching up. What have you been up to since your big traveling? Or how was your traveling experience?
Oh, my traveling experience was really good. So I want to back up so I left Sunday, but Saturday night our friends messaged us and was like, "Hey, y'all want to come over to have to celebrate before you guys go, hang out?" We were like, "Okay," and we got there at 8 p.m. at night. We had some beer, and my friend is actually from Brazil. So he prepared Brazilian hot dogs.
What does that taste like, or what is it?
Oh my gosh, it was so good. But let me explain what it is. So, hot dog has to have the bun and the wiener, right? How do you call it, the wiener?
It's wiener.
I feel weird saying that, but anyway. So that's what hot dog consists of. But so he said that in Brazil they have. Whenever they serve it on the streets, it's the wiener.
It's like a normal.
Yeah, they serve it on the bun, right?
Yeah.
The bread, the hot dog bun. But in the houses, they chop up the hot dogs and they make a sauce with it. I don't know the ingredients to that, but oh my gosh, it was so good. It's the hot dogs with sauce and corn, and so we have that. But on the bread, you put mayonnaise, you put ketchup, you can put mustard. I don't put mustard because I don't like mustard, but you can put mustard, dried onions. How did you call those?
Oh, what did I call them? I told her it was the things on green bean casserole. Fried onion. It's crisp onion crisps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Onion crisps. You put those. Then you put the hot dog mixture with the sauce, and then on top you put potato
chips.
Potato
sticks.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Potato sticks, and you just.
Wow, that's just so amazing. That sounds so
good. And it's cool because in Guatemala they have a different type of hot dogs. They call them chucos, which chuco actually means in Guatemalan dirty. But anyway, that's for another podcast. That's for another story. So we went to his house at 8 and we had, like I said, we had some drinks and we ate the hot dogs. We played karaoke. By the time we left, it was 2 a.m. and we still hadn't packed. So
it was the next day.
Yeah, we had a flight in the morning. We had to be at the airport by 9:30. So we got home, we packed. It took an hour and a half to pack, and we slept for 4 hours. Got up, had breakfast, and then headed to the airport. It was very smooth though. Everything ran smoothly.
Good.
We got our COVID test at the airport. We checked in. We went through security. I had to pay extra, a multa, I don't know how to say that in English.
For
fine.
the visa.
Like a fine.
Mm-hmm, fine.
Yeah, and because I overstayed. Anyway, so we went through all that. We made it to our gate. We had a layover in Fort Lauderdale, and then we arrived in Houston at 9 p.m. I got to spend 2 days with a friend. She just had a baby, so she's on maternity leave at home. She's a teacher, so she's been enjoying it so much, being at home with her newborn.
So
and
nice.
We got to spend time with her. We got to cook some Guatemalan meals. They cooked meals for us. It was super sweet. Super nice. Whenever you visit friends, they always feel or even me, feel you have to entertain them, going places. But I feel nowadays it's you don't need that. You just go to the house and hang out. That's really that's all we did, and I loved it. It's what I needed. Awesome. What we needed. We hadn't seen each other also
just
since
to like chill,
2019. So it was very much needed. I got to hang out, and now I'm here with Gabby. So
she's here at Mi Casa, which has been so nice to have you guys. So nice to have guests.
Wish I could stay here for a week, but my mom wouldn't be happy. So.
I know. Mama also would be a little upset. While she was off having Brazilian hot dogs, I went to Horsefest. So probably most of our listeners know what Horsefest is, but if you don't, Horsefest is a festival, a German festival in New Braunfels, Texas, which was settled by Germans. And so they celebrate, the cultural of the town. And it's basically just a night of beer, wine, music, German polka music. There's a fair. There's vendors of all kinds of stuff. And it's just become like a staple of New Braunfels. And I went for the first time in a long time, and wow, it has grown.
Yeah.
So many tourists, so many people from out of town, like people from Lubbock, people from like places that I was like, what? Like I grew up with this festival, and it was very much a smaller festival. Like, yes, it's been recognized. Like I think people from out of the country have come, but like I think it's become more of like this entertainment party central. Well, of course now with the pandemic leaning towards more normalcy, so I think everyone was out and about. It was crazy. It was a lot of fun. My mom is very sociable and like
yeah,
she's out there, so it was fun just to go with her, me and Brett. Brett being someone who does not love or enjoy big crowds sometimes, he was really stepping out of his comfort zone for me, so I appreciate that about him. But we met up with my cousins, got to see my cousins. I had a turkey leg. So staple foods at Horsefest for me are a turkey leg and a gingerbread man. Or like a strudel, but I just got a gingerbread man. So a lot of people love the bratwurst. Obviously, the worst comes from Horsefest. I do not like bratwurst or sauerkraut. I've never been.
What?
I hate it, actually. It's like a deep hate.
So that's like the German hot dog.
That's the German hot dog. Speaking of hot dogs, so my mom loved that, so she got it. I think pork chops were really popular there this year. Like everyone, all my cousins.
Isn't it like pork chop on a stick?
Yeah, so they were like, pork chop, get the pork chop. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never been like a super big fan.
I love pork chops.
I'm not like a
And the potato pancakes. Have you tried those?
I have tried those, but you know what I really wanted? So they have this tater twist, and it's like the potato, but they spiral it, and everything's basically on a stick because you're walking around. You don't really have a lot of time to like sit down.
And you gotta hold your beer in one hand.
And you gotta hold your beer if you're a beer drinker, which I heard that the pitchers were $29 this year.
And how much were they before?
I think when it first started, it was like $12, which has been
it's like $30, and it's the same size.
$30, which. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, listen, it's for the festival. It's for the whole experience. You could obviously get beer anywhere and get it cheaper, but it's like
it's
a staple.
Experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been in years, so I'd love to go back.
It was, oh my God, I also had, so I basically had a lot of sugar that night, and I was like on a very much sugar high, and then I dropped really quickly. So I got some apple cider because I'm not a beer drinker, and I didn't.
You don't like beer?
I don't like beer.
I didn't know that.
Not at all, 100%.
Gabby.
I know. I'm so not a German. Like, how do I have German ancestry?
We're gonna take you to Germany and drink some German beer. Then
I didn't like wine, and then I when I went to
and then you went to Italy.
I went to Argentina, and I was like, I kind of forced myself to like it, and now I love it. So maybe that is with beer, but I don't know. Beer's
for
like,
me, I went. Well, I sound like
you
so
went to Germany.
Sophisticated. No, but it was Prague, and that's where
Prague.
I fell in love with beer. So like I'm saying, let's take you to Germany or Prague. And
maybe I'm down to try it again. Also, Bandit is guarding the office door.
Oh, hi, Bandit.
He loves Darlene. He's guarding the door.
He wants to join the podcast.
I know.
He wants to get into the cozy corner with us.
Get into the cozy corner. Okay, so to finish my Horsefest experience, I had apple cider, guys. I had a large apple cider. Not recognizing how sweet apple cider is after having a gingerbread man, after having most of a turkey leg, which is like it's a lot. Turkey leg's yummy, but it's a lot.
They're huge.
And then I see a Ferris wheel, and I'm like, oh my God, Brett, let's be romantic and go on the Ferris wheel. We went on the Ferris wheel. We got not stuck. They were lovely. They were like 10-year-old, 12-year-old girls. And I got really nervous once it started kind of going up, and it creaks, and then it stops because it lets on more people, lets off people. I like had to hold Brett's hand, guys. I was like, I do regret this decision. I thought this was gonna be romantic. Like I thought this was.
Are you scared of heights?
I think I'm getting like to an age where, not an age for everybody, but like for me, where I'm getting scared of heights.
Yeah, that happens. Like I used to love roller coasters, and now I don't like them anymore.
Yeah, like I was ready to be off, and I was like, wow, it felt like I remember feeling like, wow, this sucks that I can't enjoy this because I like remember enjoying it. Yeah, when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
sad how that happens.
And guys, it's like a fair ride, so it was creaking. So I was like really unsure about like the whole like situation with it being together. Obviously, we were fine. Everyone was fine. So then I had a big sugar crash right after that. And then I went to go see my cousins, which everyone was good. Also, speaking of my cousin, she is a listener of the Cozy Corner. Her name is Celeste Cristina Guerra, and she is pregnant.
Aww.
She's my little cousin. She's 22. You can find her working in Laredo, Texas at HEB, and she's wonderful. And I'm so excited that she's going to be a mom. We found out the day of Horsefest, and I'm telling you, Celeste, if you're listening, I found out when I was partway putting up my pantyhose, and I basically like ran out into the living room half naked, like, what is happening? Who's pregnant? And I was just so excited, and Brett was laughing at me and my mom just because we were like running around the house, and he was like, I love how excited you guys are, and I was like, you have no idea, like,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Celeste, for bringing a bundle of joy into our lives. They will be a Cozy Corner mascot, he or she. So it. Yeah, then I came back, and it's just been kind of just back on the grind. Y'all know, right before the holidays, work is gonna get probably kind of crazy with the holidays coming up. So this has been a nice break since you and Edwin came, just to kind of entertain people. But
it's always fun, right?
Yeah, it's always fun. So yeah, me and Brett are just chilling and excited to host Thanksgiving.
Yay!
So this year, well, really just the past year and a half, things have been very different. And we're just so happy to start regrouping with friends, family, and spend Thanksgiving and be surrounded by loved ones physically and not virtually anymore. So that's been really nice.
Yeah, kind of like regrouping, getting back to normalness.
The normal.
A little bit of normalness,
yeah, creating
right?
normal. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just want to mention one thing. It's like really cool because yesterday I went to HEB and I didn't have to wear a mask. It was so nice.
Yeah, for sure. It's
like so weird because in Guatemala we have to wear masks all the time.
You have to, like, no matter what.
Yeah, it's like the law. You have to wear. So,
wow.
I mean, I bet that's like still like a controversial topic. I don't know, but
yeah, but they say, if you're
vaccinated, which that's what I am.
Yeah, you can not wear it. So no, it's super nice to just feel like
a little bit. It's like a little
normal.
freeing.
Yeah, liberating. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. That's the right word. Okay, so before recording this, we were doing a little bit of research, and we found some really good insights about Thanksgiving, and we'd like to share that with you guys. One cool fact that I read is that actually this year, 2021, would mark the 400th anniversary since the first Thanksgiving, and I'm like doing these quotation marks because that was the first Thanksgiving that was so famously shared between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. And we were taught in school that those two very different worlds coming together, celebrating a feast, because the Native Americans were the ones that taught them how to grow crops and how to basically survive off of
this land.
Yeah, the land and the nature around them. So that's what we are taught, right? That was like, okay, the feast and then celebrating the blessings and everything was good. End of story. Yeah, it's kind of like what
they just wanted to stick with the good parts.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, but what happened after that, we were not taught in school. So I don't really want to go too much into detail because I'm not a history person. Like,
we're not experts.
No, so not at all. I couldn't like sit here and tell you like the actual history, but I know that it was pretty dark in compared to what we were taught. But we do want to share with you an excerpt from an article that we read in Time magazine from a Native American living in South Dakota The article is called "The Thanksgiving Tell We Tell is a Harmful Lie." As a Native American, I found a better way to celebrate the holiday.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, obviously, yeah, we, like Darlene said, we don't want to get into the dark specifics because I feel like you guys and everyone else should educate yourself and find that time and space. But yeah, I was looking up just kind of like alternative ways to celebrate Thanksgiving, and I came across this article. So Sean Sherman was born and raised in Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, and he wrote an article with the big question of when he gets asked, like, how do you celebrate Thanksgiving as a Native American? And obviously these are just excerpts, but he states, many of my Indigenous brothers and sisters refuse to celebrate Thanksgiving, protesting the whitewashing of the horrors of our ancestors went through, and I don't blame them. But I have not abandoned the holiday. I have just changed how I practice it. The thing is, we do not need the poisonous Pilgrims and Indians narrative. We do not need that illusion of past unity to actually unite people today. Instead, we can focus simply on values that apply to everybody, which is togetherness, generosity, and gratitude. And we can make the day about what everybody wants to talk about, really, and that's the food. So he's also a chef, you guys, so that's kind of why I think he really honed in on that, which he has a book on Amazon, by the way, a little plug for him. He says, people may not realize it, but every person in this country shares, and the very history of this nation has been in front of us the whole time. Most of our Thanksgiving recipes are made with the indigenous foods: turkey, corn, beans, pumpkins, maple, wild rice. We should embrace this. No matter where you are in North America, you are on indigenous land. And so on this holiday, and any day really, I urge people to explore deeper connection to what are called American foods by understanding true Native American histories, and begin using what grows naturally around us, and to support Native American growers. There is no need to make Thanksgiving about a false past. It is so much better when it celebrates the beauty of the present. And wow, like, so beautiful. So really happy I found this, and we wanted to kind of get deeper with the meaning of the holiday outside of just being thankful, but just like really recognizing it is about the present and values and stuff. So
not getting caught up about the history or the past.
Yeah.
I also think it's super important that he is coming from that culture of Native Americans, and I think it's so important for us as Americans to educate ourselves about the people that had the land before the pilgrims. No,
the pilgrimage. The European exploration, which was a victory for them. But yeah, it's brought us here today. Brought us all here today.
So it's super important to look into that. I think me living in Guatemala, I see indigenous communities all around me. My students, the majority of them are indigenous, and so for me in Guatemala and in the Guatemalan education system, that's part of it. Like learning about their cultures and the indigenous tribes, but the indigenous people and their communities and their languages. So I think that's so cool that Guatemala has that. I wish that I grew up with that here in the U.S. About the indigenous of our land.
Same.
So I love that he also mentioned that the recipes typically made for Thanksgiving are indigenous foods, which you wouldn't think of it, but in real, that's so true.
Food of the land, yeah.
And I think that, like he mentioned, we should definitely embrace that. We are on the indigenous land.
When he mentions eating the natural foods around us, the crops that are grown, and supporting, Native American farmers and all farmers, I really do think that's something we can all do to, one, support the growers, and two, live a healthier life. Recently, I've seen a lot on my social media, probably the way I curate it, because I am really into healthy living and more wholesome foods. And that's to get rid of the processed big industry food corporations that make fast Thanksgiving food, like the fast stuffing or the fast, I don't know, pumpkin filling or fast everything. It's all just processed. And really, I've looked up these whole wholesome or from scratch recipes, and really it's not that hard to make. And if you have maybe a helper, or even if you just have like a little bit more time. And so that kind of has gotten me in the ear of like, well, I'm starting my new traditions with Brett now. We're hosting for the first time. So let me just try to just slowly incorporate maybe wholesome living. And that is in recognition of living off the land, like the ancestors of the land here. So
I think maybe it's also important that maybe it could be like a simple thing. Like I'm thinking about my Thanksgivings that I've spent the past 6 years now in Guatemala. I mean, it's just me, my husband, my mother-in-law, and it used to be my father-in-law too, and then maybe a couple of other family members, so it was super small. But something that we did, all we had was the turkey, the mashed potatoes, and the green beans, and then like a pie. So just also like keeping it simple.
Yes.
To not going over the top.
Like, don't go over the top when you don't need to. It's like not.
Of course, it's fun to have all of the
I mean, because I feel like we both grew up with like
I grew up on that.
Oversized everything was, but then it's like now as we're adults, we're like, do we really need to like
all of that? Do we need all of that?
I know.
But no, I mean, of course, it's important. It's part of the holiday too.
Yes,
it's just like personal thoughts.
And it's part of like, I guess, like the culture of today is the aesthetic, and it's like all of this and that. So I mean, just be mindful. I guess that's like what we would urge.
Yeah. And going along with that, I think we cannot conclude this episode without mentioning not to let the food be the main point. Of course, Thanksgiving is about stuffing yourself. Well, maybe it's not about stuffing yourself, but it's enjoying the food, right? It's also important to remember that Thanksgiving is about the family. Yeah. Like friends, the gathering, the being thankful. That's why for me, that's why it's called Thanksgiving. You have to be thankful of what what we are given in our lives. So, but also don't let, for example, you're on a diet or something, you're like staying away from breads. I think Thanksgiving is an exception. For sure. I think you should enjoy yourself and be mindful just like how you are, any day. It's all about enjoying the holiday. Yeah, I totally am with that. Don't get stressed about that. Don't get stressed, exactly. Another thing that I not looked up, it actually came to me and I screenshotted it and sent it to Darlene. I follow this really cool influencer, and she had a post about compliments that don't have to do with appearance. And I've I've had conversations in the past with friends about like how it's so interesting. We see someone after a long time and you like automatically have to talk about like if they lost weight, and if like they didn't, you like talk about something just like like we always have to have this like affirmation of like our body image is okay or not okay. I don't know. So with the article that I read linked to whatever Meg Box posted, it said appearance-based compliments aren't as kind as they seem. Sure, it's nice to tell someone they have a great style, or tell someone they look nice when they look nice, whether they're dressed up or dressed down. But one's appearance, especially their body, it's hard for that not to get wrapped up in their head and their self-identity. When their body changes, as it does, all of our bodies change, how are we supposed to grapple with losing that part of our identity and not getting complimented on being as thin as we were, or as in shape, or as fit? I feel like that can really start like the values of oneself can really start to feel fearful, and then you like stop going to gatherings because you don't look that certain aesthetic anymore. And I find that like sad. So I feel like, I guess just to be mindful on compliments. I like that. So that's something that I don't think about every day. Because of course it's easy, to a stranger, oh, I love your purse, or I love your heels. Right? Yeah, and I feel like those are like accessories, but I guess when people, I don't know. Oh, is that not funny? Well, I feel like, I think it's like mostly when, like, listen, guys, if I lost like 100 pounds and because I purposely like worked out, like it would make me feel good if people saw like, wow, like you work so hard, you look great. But I think this kind of relates to people that like maybe every day fluctuate, and it's like, once that starts getting sunken into people, like if you everyday fluctuate, which a lot of women and men do, like
fluctuate in weight, and then they only get complimented when they're on the thinner side. That's what I think the article is like about, because usually with Thanksgiving, listen, we had a pandemic of a year, so a lot of people's body changed. We are going into the winter months, so like this natural fluctuation of weight, people are technically like getting heavier with winter, because it's just like, I think there's some statistics out there, but it's like, what are they going to say about like how I look, like my love handles, this. So I think that's like where I try to focus on just being mindful of like, how about have a conversation with your guest and like compliment them on their mind and their spirit and their soul. Because when I get complimented on my mind, spirit, and soul, it makes me feel so affirmed in life, and like it's so much more attractive in general, like the mind, spirit, and soul to compared to the body.
Yeah.
That's what I think about.
Yeah, of course. Like thinking about, for example, like finding a significant other.
Yeah.
The only reason, I mean, you're not going to marry a guy or a girl just because they look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just because they are beautiful.
Yeah.
You're going to marry them for the inside too.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes along with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like also being recognized for your personality, the things that you do for others,
100%.
your inside is something that's important. So yeah, good. And I think that we find this topic so important because a lot of us are going to be seeing family members that we haven't seen in maybe 2 years. For example, me. I haven't seen. So backstory: I'm having Thanksgiving with my family here in Texas, and when I say family, I'm talking about like my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. What is the typical Thanksgiving for all of my years growing up? And so I'm seeing these people for the first time since 2019 and Christmas 2019. So it's almost 2 years since I've seen these family members. So I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Like the first time that you're getting together with your family members again, seeing them for the first time in these past 2 years. So it would be nice to shoot them over a compliment that doesn't have to do with their body.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like we have some examples that will just kind of, I know that's silly to like give you examples, but like sometimes it's just like,
what do I say?
Nice to have examples, nice to have options.
Yeah, exactly.
So some unique compliments you can give to a guest at your party or when you go to a house for Thanksgiving is, I admire and appreciate how open-minded you are.
Another one could be, you're such an easy person to talk to. I always feel at ease in your presence.
You are such a genuine person. I always appreciate your honesty.
Or, I love how down to earth you are. I always feel like I can be myself around you. Of course, the list goes on and on of the compliments that you can give to people about their personality, about the way that they are, right? So maybe you can like be brainstorming ideas for your family members, for your friends, and like a piece of advice could be like just have fun with it and be creative.
Yeah, for sure.
It could be anything. This week's intention is super simple. You might feel out of your comfort zone, but we always want to encourage you to get out of your comfort zone.
We encourage you to practice giving your friends and or family members compliments that don't deal with their appearance. You may never know how you will leave that person feeling for the day or even for the week.
Thank you all so much for listening to the Cozy Corner podcast, where two besties literally come together. Reminisce, catch up, chat, and discuss many topics all 20-something-year-olds face.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Feel free to write us on Instagram at the.cozycornerpod or send us an email at thecozycornerpod@gmail.com.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and if you're listening to this after Thanksgiving, I hope that you had a beautiful time with your family, with your friends, and we'll see you next time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube.
God bless, take care, and adios,
Adios.
amigos.